Hi, Happy New Year. Or at least we're just about going to hit 2026, the end of 2025, a time to reflect, a time to renew our energies and plan what we're going to do in the coming year, especially when it comes to language learning. So I want to talk to you about my plans for 2026 and review a little bit of what I did in 2025. So, where do I want to be in the year 2026? As I open up my link page, I see where I have been for much of the year 2025, which is in Farsi. I'm quite pleased with what I have achieved. You can see the percentage of new words in these lessons is quite low. It's comfortable for me to read them and listen to them. And as I'll show you, I stepped up my speaking. As I became more comfortable in Farsi, I began speaking more. So there's a sort of snowball effect. You get better and better as you understand more. You want to speak more. You get better at speaking and so forth. But in the new year, I've decided that I'm going to move into Arabic, as I shall explain. So if I look at this, and I look at my year in review, you'll see that actually I dabbled in a lot of different languages, just curious. We have Punjabi. What is that all about? But really, I was only studying Persian, Arabic, Turkish, a little bit of Italian, but overwhelmingly Persian. And I was in the top percentage of Persian learners. I am a bit of a fanatic, but I kind of kept a toe in these other languages. You will see that my listening in Persian was off the charts. I was active for 362 days, and my favorite podcast source was Parse during the year. So that's where I was. Question is, what am I going to do in the new year? And that's what I want to talk to you about now. So if I decide to have a look at my Arabic page, you'll see that the situation is quite different. So if I switch here to Arabic, you will see that 27% new words, 14%. That's only because I've been in this here lesson. I've already been in it, and this one here I've completed, so it shows a lower percentage. But I'm in the 24%, and I want to get that number down to 10%. And to do that, I'm going to vary it between news programs like this and podcasts like this. And that's going to mean switching between language, which is a little more formal over here, a little more kind of semi, and I can't tell, I'm not good enough. It seems semi-Fusha type of language, whereas here is more really Lebanese day-to-day type conversation. And I'll be doing a lot of it in sentence mode. And hopefully, if I can stay the course, my Arabic will take a big leap forward. One of the interesting things when I look at my statistics is the difference between the number of words I need in, say, Persian, where I don't have so many known words but speak it better, as compared to, say, Arabic and Turkish, where I seem to have a lot of known words but have much more trouble understanding and speaking those languages. And I think that's an important point, that the statistics are primarily an indication of our activity level at different points in time in that language, because different languages are structured differently, and you can't say that I know so many words in this language, and that then tells me how good I am in the language. Just not so. So the important thing is to stay active, and I want to talk a bit about how I manage to stay motivated and active in different languages with reference to my statistics. I think there are three ways that I keep myself motivated. The first is to have goals, long-term goals, goals in my imagination, visualizing where I can be in the language, what I can learn in the language, but also short-term goals. Insofar as long-term goals, even though, as I'm going to explain, I've been most active in Persian over the past year, and I'm now going to focus more on Arabic. If I pick up a book like this that I happen to see here on my desk, pages from Istanbul'dan sayfalar. I see a picture of Istanbul on the cover. I remember how I put a lot of effort into Turkish, and then with my wife, we visited Turkey and had a wonderful time, including, of course, Istanbul. So there's all this romance surrounding the language. And nowadays, I can go find on YouTube videos where people talk about this book. I can find pirated copies on the internet, but I'm not going to download those. But I'm looking forward to the day when all of the language content that's on the internet in podcast form, movie form, or books that we buy in the bookstore or online, all of these things can connect and become language learning opportunities, so that I will have an opportunity to listen to the book, read the book online to learn the words, and yet have the pleasure and the comfort of reading this book as a printed book. But that's still, we're not quite there yet, but things have come so far and so fast in language learning. I'm sure we will soon reach that point. So goals, visualizing, romantic visit to Istanbul or Isfahan. But at the same time, we need short-term goals. And that's where the statistics come in. We need to be nudged forward, because there are times when our interest lags. And so that's why I spent a fair amount of time going over my statistics. What have I been doing over the past year or since I started this language? And what sorts of statistical goals should I have in the coming year? So in order to stay active, I need to have my goals. I need statistics to nudge me forward. And the third thing that I need, and I've mentioned this before, is this balance between repetition and novelty. The repetition is needed in order to create automaticity. We see things often enough that the neurons fire together. And I'm not going to go into the details of this, but Dr. Head, famous Canadian psychologist, who said neurons that fire together wire together, so that the frequent exposure to the same words and structures will help us learn those structures. And so they start to become automatic. And I've also mentioned that we need to see them in different contexts, that makes it easier to remember them than if we try to expose ourselves to them in isolated lists. But that's all about this idea of repetition. But at the same time, we need novelty, because novelty makes things interesting for the brain. Novelty creates this dopamine of anticipation, which is extremely important for our memory and for our motivation. So we have to have a balance between repetition and novelty, and that balance is going to vary depending on where we are in the language. At the early stage, we need more repetition. Later on, we can do more exploring with less repetition. But managing that repetition and novelty, repetition, new material, going over the same material again, promoting this automaticity so that we can rely on what we're uttering in the language, while at the same time doing more exploring of new things in order to keep ourselves motivated. If we can combine these effectively, we then are in the zone, where we are enjoying the process, and the process is the reward, and we simply keep on improving in the language as we're enjoying it. If I look at my statistics, I will see that I was most active in Persian, and in particular, I did a lot of speaking in Persian this past year. Part of the reason for that is because I have a better, comprehension level in Persian. And even though I have fewer known words, I also have fewer unknown words in new material. That's just in the nature of Persian, how it's structured, how inflected it is compared to Turkish or Arabic. But as I become more comfortable in the language, I speak more. And as I speak more, I get better at speaking. So there's a bit of a virtuous circle there. I want to get to that same level in Arabic. I have been very sort of less than concentrated in my efforts at Arabic. Arabic, we have the issue of, standard Arabic versus Levantine Arabic versus Egyptian Arabic. I've dabbled in a bit of all of those, interspersed with Persian and Turkish. So I think the time has come now that, just as when I was focused on French or focused on Mandarin or Japanese, I learned those languages better. My sort of dilettante approach over the last 4 or 5 years, I think, is reaching a limit. I'm comfortable with where I am in Persian for now. I want to focus in on Arabic, really concentrate for the next 3 months, and maybe for another 3 months after that to see if I can't bring my level of Arabic up to a point where I have fewer new words in material that I bring in, so that I understand better, so that I'm able to speak better. So that's going to be my focus going forward. That's not to say I won't at some point try to refocus on Turkish or Persian, but for the time being, that's what I'm going to do. So I would encourage you to take stock of what you have been up to in your past year of language learning. If you are new to language learning, I would recommend staying with one language and having that balance of repetition and novelty within that language, say our mini stories or other easier beginner material, which you listen to over and over again, and then explore more difficult content within that language. My conclusion is that, it doesn't matter to me. I don't have to learn any of these languages, and I've enjoyed exploring 3 languages, but now if I really want to improve my Arabic, I'm going to have to focus. So it may be, depending on what your goals are, that it might be a good idea to say, as I have done, join a 90-day challenge and really try to push that level forward in a particular language. However, we do have to manage our expectations. Whatever I achieve in my 3 months of focusing in on Arabic, I will be happy. If I can maintain my activity level, I will be satisfied. If I can be working in sentence mode, working my way through difficult material, and gradually seeing my listening hours and reading hours increase, I will be happy, whatever I achieve. And I'm also going to increase my speaking. So there you have it. That's what I plan to do. Oh, and I should mention that Link still has a special holiday season New Year's discount. So all the best for 2026, and I look forward to your comments. Bye.